Steep climbs are brutal, let's face it. I mean, anyone can ride up a long climb, you just have to go slowly enough, right?
Well, steep climbs though, Si, that's when you're really going to start to suffer. But surely there are some tricks of the trade to not only help us ride them, but to ride them faster.
Well, it is funny you should say that, Matt.
Do you ride steep climbs in or out of the saddle? Well, in short, it depends on you. And if you favour one over the other, that's probably for the best.
And the advantage of riding in the saddle are that if your gears permit, you can spin an easier gear, meaning that you're going to end up doing less muscle damage. Now that may or may not matter, it just depends how long and how many climbs that you're going to have to ride. And then, if the climb is really steep, then it's also going to help you maintain traction at the rear wheel by keeping more weight over it.
Now, I've never heard in a pro race a rider seated actually beating or even keeping up with riders who are riding out of the saddle on a very steep climb. That's except, of course, for cobbled climbs where you get far more traction when you sat down over your back wheel. So it's fair to say then, depending on your fitness level, that you're going to go far faster on steep climbs riding out of the saddle. Although you might pay for it a little bit later because you are expending far more energy.
The gears that you choose to ride up steep climbs, and therefore your cadence, are really important. So the first point is that you need to change gears before you need to. Now, particularly from the big chainring to the small chainring, because even the most expensive gears don't really like to shift under pressure. So shift before you get stuck.
And secondly, if your gears allow it, you'll be glad of some lighter gears, especially on longer rides. So keeping a high but comfortable cadence.
And what do we mean by gears allowing? Well, essentially having gears that are small enough. So you might want to consider having a 34 tooth chainring at the front, and then maybe even going up to a 32 cassette at the back. Those gears should be easy enough to pedal up just about any tarmac, whilst you're giving it a little bit of welly as well, of course. On really short, steep climbs, pacing might seem like an alien concept. If all you can do is get up the climb, then you've just got to give it everything you've got for as long as you've got. But many steep climbs are preceded by less steep sections, or in fact, it might just be really steep for really long. And so in either of those cases, you're going to have to use your head as well as your legs.
Yeah, if you know that a climb gets steeper on the shallow part, try and go as gently as you can so that you can really dig in deep and go hard when the road pitches up and gets steep. So to quantify that and speak about it in terms of time, you could lose perhaps 30 seconds on the shallow initial part of the climb, but actually gain around a minute on the steep section.
So you need to use your head for pacing, that's pretty clear. What about using your head to help you try harder?
Well, it's a bit of a horrific cliche, but having a positive mental attitude will help you no end in cycling, and that's no more evident on steep climbs just like this one.
Yeah, feeling positive is going to help you dig deeper. You'll get more out of yourself, and then paradoxically, it's also going to hurt less. Now, I know it sounds a little bit far-fetched, but from my experience, when I perceive an effort to be good, I go much faster than when I perceive an effort to be bad. So when I'm struggling to hold a wheel, for example, or I just feel like I'm going slowly.
The steeper the gradient, the more that your mass will be holding you back. It's simple physics really. So if you've got a light bike and you're a light rider, then you'll need less power to get over the climbs. But there is a limit to how light you can go. So if you train on steep climbs and you're targeting an event that's peppered with climbs, definitely worthwhile thinking about losing a kilo or two. You'll get a big advantage from that.
You will, but if you're a larger rider, then don't despair. Firstly, just look at the Tour of Flanders, a race characterised by loads of steep climbs. It tends to be won by riders who are on the larger end of the pro cyclist spectrum, showing you that ultimately power can win out.
Yeah, well, here you need to think about also using your natural attributes to your advantage. So pace yourself on the climb, then over the top, really start to turn on the gas and try and reel in on the flat sections, and the downhill, the skinny climbers who've got away from you on the steep bits. It works in pro racing, and it can also work for you. Think back to a few years ago when Thor Hushovd won a mountain stage of the Tour de France doing exactly that.
So, steep climbs then. Pace yourself, pre-select your gears, and then get your head in gear as well.
And don't forget, you're going to need to absolutely smash it as well.
That is true.
Anyway, for how to train for steep climbs, how about clicking just up here? And for a masterclass on the art of climbing itself from none other than Alberto Contador, no less, click just down here.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to GCN before going to either of those. It's completely free, and to do it, you just got to click on the red globe.